Not with truth, not with clarity, but with a glimmer, a flash of desire masquerading as recognition. She looks at you not as you are, but as what she hopes you might become. And in that gaze, you don't feel seen, you feel summoned. Summoned into a role you never auditioned for, cast into a movie you never agreed to star in. This is not love. This is projection. And Carl Jung, he didn't whisper about this. He screamed into the void of our illusions, into the masks we wear, into the roles we play, all while forgetting who we are. This isn't just about women. This is about you, the man who keeps wondering why nothing ever feels real, why every relationship ends in confusion, why love turns to blame and desire turns to disgust. Welcome to the nightmare you've been calling romance. Let's unravel it. She says she sees you, but what she's really seeing is her own reflection, shaped in the contours of her fantasies, molded by the whispers of her wounded childhood, painted in the colors of a man that never existed. You're not being loved. You're being cast. You think you're the exception, the man she's been waiting for. But Jung would shake his head and whisper, "You are merely the next Candace." She's not falling for you. She's falling for the image she placed on you, the heroic archetype inside her unconscious, what Jung called the Animus. This inner masculine voice in a woman, it's not always wise. It's not always noble. When it is undeveloped, it becomes a tyrant. It doesn't seek truth. It seeks control. And once you stop fitting the script, once your humanity begins to leak through the character she projected, you are no longer a man. You are a disappointment, not because of what you did, but because you failed to uphold the myth. And that myth, it was ... Nobody tells you this, but from the very beginning, there's a contract, unspoken, invisible, psychological, and it goes like this: I will love you as long as you never stop being who I imagine you are. That's the deal. You thought you were entering a relationship. You were actually entering a theater. And your script? It was written long before she met you. You are simply the actor brought in to fill a role. And the tragedy? Most men accept this because they are starving. Starving for approval, starving for validation, starving to be seen. So when a woman projects her fantasy onto you, it feels like salvation. It feels like love. But it's not. It's performance. And performance, Jung called it possession. A spiritual hijacking of consciousness, where the woman herself becomes unaware that she's being moved not by her own will, but by the unseen hand of her own animus. It speaks with false authority. It moralizes without self-awareness. It criticizes, dominates, debates, destroys, without ever stepping into the light of its own shadow. And when this animus takes the wheel, love becomes war. Affection becomes manipulation. Communication becomes courtroom drama. You're no longer relating to her. You're arguing with an archetype. And guess what? You will lose. Because it was never meant to be a conversation. It was a monologue. You're not a partner. You're a prop. So what do? You perform. You adapt. You compromise. You trade truth for connection. You swallow your instincts. You silence your needs. And at first, she rewards you for it. She calls you sweet, sensitive, supportive. But soon she begins to withdraw. Why? Because even she doesn't know what she wants. She wants you to be a man, but she can't define what that means. She wants you to be strong, but not dominant, present, but not needy, emotionally open, but never weak. You are navigating a maze with no map, and each turn you take only leads you deeper into confusion. So you become what Jung feared most, a man divided against himself. Modern men are trained actors, not leaders, not warriors, not grounded, whole beings, actors. We've been taught to read the room, mirror the mood, please the woman. But no one taught us how to be, how to sit in solitude, how to confront our shadow, how to choose ourselves. And as long as you are performing, you are not living. As long as you are adjusting to her perception, you are betraying your essence. And no woman, no matter how evolved, can love a mask forever. Eventually, it cracks. Eventually, she sees the hollowness be. And her love turns cold, because the man she thought she loved never existed. And the real you were never allowed to show up. Jung said it plainly. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But becoming that man, it's a brutal path. It's not romantic. It's not sexy. It won't get you praise. It will cost you. Friends, lovers, familiar illusions. You will have to burn the scripts written for you. You will have to disappoint the women who wanted you to stay tame, predictable, available. You will have to embrace loneliness as a rite of passage. And in that silence, something begins to stir. Not the applause, not the validation, but truth. There is a kind of man who does not chase, not because he is arrogant, but because he is whole. He does not mold himself for affection. He does not perform for applause. He does not tremble in the face of female disappointment. He stands, alone, rooted, and in his presence, because they cannot control him. They cannot define him. They cannot bend him. He does not fit the mold. He breaks it. He has become what Jung called an individuated man, a man who has faced his own shadow and refused to wear the mask again. And when this kind of man speaks, he speaks not to be heard, but to reveal. He becomes a mirror, and most people hate the mirror. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Most women are not attracted to the man who bends. They are attracted to the man who cannot be bent. They might scream at him. They might call him distant, arrogant, unavailable. But deep down, they respect him because he refuses to be swallowed by the fantasy. He refuses to play a role he never chose. He refuses to trade his soul for approval. And when they leave, he does not chase. He does not collapse. He does not perform. He simply remains whole. Ironically, it is only when a man becomes whole that he attracts a woman who is also whole. Not a goddess looking to be worshipped. Not a wounded girl looking to be saved. Not a mother looking to be obeyed. But a woman who has faced her own shadow, integrated her animus, confronted her illusions. And she does not want a puppet. She wants a partner. And in that meeting, there are no masks, no scripts, no performances, just truth. Two humans, two souls, two fires, walking side by side, not out of need, but from a place of freedom. But most of you won't get there. Not because you're not capable, but because you're still afraid of silence. You'd rather be loved for a lie than stand alone in truth. You'd rather perform than disappoint. You'd rather obey than confront. You'd rather be chosen than become. But Jung didn't leave us comfort. He left us a warning. If you do not make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. So I ask you now, are you ready to stop blaming women? Are you ready to stop molding yourself into a role? Are you ready to face the silence? To burn the mask? To become the author of your own existence? Because the man who walks this path, he doesn't need to be chosen. He chooses himself. And that changes everything.